So, welcome everyone to our webinar from My Hotel Shop on a nice, beautiful, sunny Friday, at least here in Leipzig, where we are based. Today's webinar is around TripAdvisor and explaining how TripAdvisor works and how TripAdvisor offers different opportunities for individual hotels. You already have TripAdvisor in front of you. This is now the view from a United Kingdom platform, nevertheless from a German location. So in case you are based in the UK and you see things slightly different, this might be because you're having a different IP address, because guys like TripAdvisor do actually have different ways of displaying stuff in different countries. So there's always that's already the first explanations, because we have a lot of clients that say, oh, I see different things on the screen than you do. These kind of platforms have a strategy to obviously have different experiences and different user experiences in different countries on different IP addresses. Plus, a lot of these platforms do a lot of testing and a lot of so-called A/B testing. So they bring different usability to different kind of users. So it could actually be that you really see things differently than I do. And I'm trying to refer to that as good as possible. But in case you are worrying or you're wondering why this is the case, this is usually the reason. So what you see in front of you is a search result for TripAdvisor if you search for a hotel in Berlin. You can obviously search hotels on TripAdvisor like on any other platform, like on Booking.com, like on Expedia, like on Trivago. And TripAdvisor is obviously a platform where all hotels in the world are listed, at least all the hotels that have reviews. And this is your result page. So, and that looks pretty familiar and pretty similar to many other result pages on other booking engines or other OTAs, online travel agents. So you get a result, obviously, for each hotel with a price. But the main difference, obviously, to a Booking.com or an Expedia is that you not necessarily book on TripAdvisor, but you get a price comparison across many platforms. And as you can see here, for the first three hotels on the top position, here on that view deal, you have Expedia. On the other hotel, you have Booking.com. And on the third one, you have Expedia again. This is unfortunately a scenario a lot of hotels are not very happy about, and because these are the platforms where we pay a lot of commissions to. And obviously, we want to have a chance to potentially participate in this price comparison with our own booking platform, with our own booking engine, so our own website. So today it's all about what is possible here, how much it costs, what the business model is, and how it works. One thing that is very important to understand about TripAdvisor, that not every click or every user is going down that way. Not every user goes on TripAdvisor.com and searches for a hotel in New York or searches for a hotel in London or Berlin. A lot of users actually go on Google and type in on Google whatever, some random hotel, let's say hotel site Hamburg, and this is obviously the result page that you're used to. So you're getting basically the result page of the hotel on Google. Like you can see here on position number 1, there's already TripAdvisor on the Google AdWords. But not only there, also on the search engine optimization part, so on the free Google area where you don't pay anything for clicks, it's on third position. There is TripAdvisor in the search results for this hotel. And this is quite obvious because TripAdvisor has a lot of reviews around the hotel, which means they have a lot of content, which again, on the other side, is very well regarded by Google, and Google obviously ranks these platforms very positively. And as you can see, TripAdvisor and Holiday Check, which is a German review platform, are covering like the top positions on the search optimization platforms or positions. So a lot of people actually click on TripAdvisor and end up directly on the hotel website. So not on the hotel website of the hotel, but on the TripAdvisor hotel site. So there are no precise data, but I would guess that potentially 30 to 45% of the total traffic is actually ending up straight on hotel sites rather than on the TripAdvisor research page. So they actually end up straight on your hotel and they see this in front of them. So this is obviously a core difference in how we manage TripAdvisor, because this is two totally different kind of traffic streams. One is basically coming in and having the competition next to you. But on the other side, it is obviously straight on the hotel TripAdvisor page, where then obviously it looks slightly different. So let's start with the search result here on that site. So you search after, let's say in this case, Berlin, and you get a ranking of all the different hotels. A lot of people ask, okay, how can I get up in ranking? How can I get to the top position here? Ranking on TripAdvisor is obviously very much based on reviews. So it's not an easy task to get up like several pages on TripAdvisor within a few days. It's long-term work. It's obviously depending on most recent reviews, on good reviews, on reviews in different languages. So there are obviously many factors, and TripAdvisor is quite secretive around that. But let's put it that way: if you have a lot of reviews and if you have a lot of new reviews, it's definitely to your benefit to get up in ranking on TripAdvisor. And nevertheless, then you have this price comparison on the right side. And here, obviously, it's very dominant to have one placement that is covering basically all the attention. And if you're somewhere on the right side where you can see TripAdvisor, Sofitel, Hotels Click, or here Expedia and TUI, it's obviously quite clear that if people click anywhere, it's most likely on that big yellow button. Another question we get from hotels is obviously, how do I get this top deal little flag, and how is this little price of €201, where is this coming from? Again, quite easy. You can see on the right side the price for that day that TripAdvisor finds through their different partners, and they take the most expensive price, put it on top of here, and compare it to the cheapest price that they find. And that obviously makes a psychological impression on consumers where they say, oh, I'm going to save €70, and that obviously gives a huge incentivation to click this offer and book the hotel. So it's not really kind of like anything faked or anything made up. It's just the prices that you have available in your hotels through various platforms. If you have rate parity, by the way, obviously this would not happen. But then on the other side, you would also not be able to get a top deal, right? Because all the prices are the same, and there would not be any psychological savings. So the next question is then, how can I get an opportunity to be connected with my own website on TripAdvisor? For this, I'm going to move on and go on one of the hotel websites. Let's take an example. Hold on, where is it? Let's take this one. Yeah, let's take the I-31 in Berlin. It's a hotel that is really highly ranked. It's position number 5 in Berlin with a lot of traffic. And now here you can see already different things going on. Number one is product number one that a hotel can also buy directly with TripAdvisor. It's a so-called TripAdvisor Business Advantage, which most of you might know under the previous name TripAdvisor Business Listing. So this is what you can see up here. This is basically the blue covered part now, the highlighted part. This is basically an entry of your hotel with your hotel website, your telephone number, your contact details, and also an offer that you can put here. So if you click here, you get an offer. You can put down an offer here, and you can actually make it bookable online, and you click here, and again, you're forwarded to your hotel website. Business listing, or business advantage as it's called today, is a yearly subscription model. So you buy basically this placement for a year, and you pay a fixed price for it. So let me show you briefly the difference to the case if you don't have it. This is the case if you're a hotel that doesn't have a business advantage listing. Then you basically would be completely naked and empty here. There's nothing here, and this is the way it looks if you have it. So a lot of people ask, okay, how much does it cost? The cost can really vary a lot. There are several factors that influences your prices. If you are in a small destination with little traffic, with little attention, then obviously you would pay a much lower price than if you are a hotel in London in position number 1. So obviously the more people click on your TripAdvisor hotel site, the more TripAdvisor charges you for this placement. There are certain ranges of prices, and it can range anything between €400 and 12,000 or even more, or 20,000 euros. So if you're like position number 1 in New York, I think I heard prices that go up in a good high 5-digit area. Because obviously a lot of people are looking at these hotels because they're so highly ranked and they're in big destinations with a lot of demand. But if you are obviously in a small destinations, or also if you are in Paris, but you are on page number 40 in TripAdvisor, then obviously much less people might end up on your hotel site, and that way you would also pay less. Interestingly enough, because we measure results for the hotels, and a lot of you who are dialed in today are clients of ours, so you know our dashboard, our marketing dashboard. So if you dial in, if you log into our dashboard, you can see basically the results of this placement. So we measure basically on how many people click on this website and how many people are forwarded to the website, and then finally actually end up on this website and make a booking. So this is basically done through our tracking technology, and you can precisely see on how many clicks you got over the last year and how much revenue you generated through your booking engine. We have a tracking technology in place that can see every user coming through. And the interesting part is that for most of the hotels, we can see very positive results, specifically when they are highly ranked and having very good reviews. We have hotels, and you see one example in front of you, and they have to pay because they are highly ranked in Berlin. They pay up to 10,000 euro, 8,000 euro a year for this placement. And this sounds like terribly expensive on the first glance. But on the other side, you can also get a lot of revenue out of it. So we have one hotel, for example, that pays 4,500 euro a year. But so far, and the year is not even over, we made 108,000 euro revenue. So if you think about getting the same business through Booking.com and Expedia for 108,000 euro, you would have paid on average 20% commission. That would have been like above 20,000 euro commission. And in that case, we only paid 4,500 euro for this placement. And this is an excellent return of investment, and all the people booked through the website of the hotel. On the other side, you obviously also have a telephone number and a contact form. So there are also people who call your hotel from TripAdvisor, especially out of the mobile area where people come with a mobile phone. They click on the telephone number and dial in directly. The interesting again is we also have a tracking technology here where you can go and actually measure how many people call you from TripAdvisor, or we can also put different telephone numbers on different platforms. So you can put a telephone number on Google, we can put a telephone number on your website, we can put a telephone number on Trivago, and then we can see at the end of the month on how many people actually call, and we can even measure through the telephone on how many people book. This might sound like black magic, and I'm not going to explain it today because our webinar is about TripAdvisor. But if you're interested in that kind of technology, just give us a call or write us an email and be happy to explain it in more detail. Interestingly enough, we can see that, let's take this hotel again that made around 108,000 euro. We could see that roughly another 8,000 euro per year came through telephone. So, which is another income stream, which is not online, but again, it's direct. It's directly into your hotel. It's commission free. And people correspond directly with you. So in total, obviously a very, very good return of investment. It doesn't mean that business listing or business advantage works for every hotel. We can really see that specifically of smaller hotels with little reach and hotels with not so good reviews obviously have problems and the return of investment is not so good. But the better the hotel and the higher it's ranked and the more expensive actually it gets, the better the return of investment. So just let us know, and if you need to know a little bit more about results and possibly some expectations or analysis around your hotel, we can obviously have a little bit more detailed look for you. Nevertheless, business advantage is not all around this placement. It's not only something you pay for to get clicks to your website. Business advantage is a product from TripAdvisor that actually also gives you a lot of more things. You can actually go on TripAdvisor and log into TripAdvisor yourself. And if you log into TripAdvisor yourself, you can see up here several things. And I think as most of you log into TripAdvisor regularly simply to respond to reviews. But if you go under product, you can go under business advantage and you can actually have a look yourself. And business advantage, and that's really now the difference to business listing, how they did it before, is giving you tons of new opportunities, which a few of them, and I really like them. So for example, you can now actually go in there and create different photo tools. So you have the option, for example, to select favorite pictures that you uploaded into TripAdvisor and put them into your profile on a prominent position. Same is like with cover pictures. So and that's something a lot of hotels were very concerned about in the past, because obviously there are also pictures from users, from consumers, and obviously they want to show their own pictures. So now with Business Advantage, you actually also have the option to really put your best pictures in the front of the client, create slideshows and so on, which is a very nice feature. On top of that, as mentioned before, you obviously have several promotional features, which is, for example, contact details, special offers. But what you also have, which is new, you can also pick announcements and make announcements. For example, if you have events coming up or something, or favorite reviews. So for example, if there's a favorite review, you can pinpoint that review and can highlight it within your reviews. And that again, obviously helps clients to understand your hotel better, and potentially make a decision to stay in your hotel. So again, some very nice features on top. And then last but not least, something a lot of hotels are also very keen on, unfortunately not using it enough, but we look at it a lot if we work with our hotels. We look a lot, obviously, at your statistics. And TripAdvisor now with Business Advantage gives you a lot of insight into your hotel statistics and also in competitor benchmarks. So for that kind of money, you also get like reputation insights. So you can look at your own ratings in comparison to other hotels. You can look at your market position. You can also look at where people come from, and also demand trends, where people are coming from and what they are looking for. And this is something you can obviously compare with your own data. On top of that, what is also interesting, you can get a lot of data that you can download. You can see how many people were on your site on TripAdvisor and so on. So now, how much does it cost? As I said, it really depends on your hotel. You have two packages. You have a standard access and a preferred access. So as you can imagine, the preferred access obviously costs a little bit more than the standard access. The main difference you can see in the bullet points here. You can have a look yourself. So the extra features you really get is obviously the picture scenario, and several data and numbers that you can get access to. So in the end of the day, you need to decide for yourself, and not every package makes sense for every hotel. Again, if you have questions, I think it's best if we have a chat and we can give you some recommendation and analysis what makes most sense for you. So that's so much about Business Advantage. So if you need to know anything else, feel free to ask me through the chat, or simply write us an email after the webinar, and we're happy to run you through it. Maybe one important thing is we have a lot of hotels on Business Listing or Business Advantage, and obviously we are very happy to ask TripAdvisor for a quote. We are almost acting like a wholesaler, so we have usually very good deals and very good offers for our clients. So you might be able even to save some money there. Okay, so much about Business Advantage. Now let's move a little bit further down. Now you see the price finder. And this is obviously what we've seen before on the result page for Berlin. This is also a price comparison, and you have the same price comparison here on TripAdvisor itself. And as you can see here now, this is nicely done, the official hotel website with €105 prominently displayed on TripAdvisor in the price comparison. So what happens here? We obviously connected this hotel with TripAdvisor with a real-time price feed. And all the other websites like Booking.com, etc., are now listed below the View Deal button. Just to give you a little bit of insight here, this can look really, really different across hotels and across countries. At the moment, this is a display where you can only see one price. You might have seen different displays where you actually saw three prices. So not just official hotel website, but three in the same way, three prices below each other, which would be more prominent, obviously, for position number 2 and 3. In this case, obviously, position number 1 would get all the attention, but there are also different displays where you can see number 2 and number 3 as prominent. This is something TripAdvisor is testing around with a lot. Nevertheless, whatever happens, if you want to do this, you would have to go on a cost per click model. So if you want to get this position, and if you want to get the link from TripAdvisor in the click, if you click here on View Deal, you would be forwarded, obviously, to the website of the hotel, and to the booking engine of the hotel. In that case, you would have to pay for the click. And each click you pay for, each click you get, you have to pay for. So, but how do you actually get there in the first place? This is, and some of you might have been in a webinar around Trivago before, it's pretty much the same way. You need to send prices to TripAdvisor. In that case, In that case, it's basically depending on your channel manager or your booking engine. So you basically need to have a connectivity from them either to TripAdvisor or directly or to us. In our case, we have around 80 connectivities, so 80 different channel managers and property management systems that are connected to us. So usually within Europe, we have most of the booking engines and technology partners connected. So there are not really many hotels that we cannot get live. But nevertheless, it's something you would need to ask us. But if you connect to us, in that case, we will send your prices to TripAdvisor and they're going to be displayed here. But that's only showing up the prices. This is still not giving you the opportunity to go live. To go live, you obviously have to buy a budget on TripAdvisor. So you actually buy a certain amount of clicks in advance. The way we do it, and again, we try to keep it as simple as possible because a lot of hotels are not really eager and happy around the cost per click model. But on the other side, unfortunately, that's the way Google, TripAdvisor, and Trivago work. You have to deal with it. So to make it as easy and as little complicated as possible, we offer hotels to really start with a small budget. Let's say if you're a smaller hotel, you can start with €500 and you do this on a prepaid model. If you're a bigger hotel in Paris or in Prague or in Amsterdam, it would obviously make sense to maybe start with a bigger budget, let's say €1,000, 1,500. And this first budget, this is really something nobody can guarantee you anything on, right? Because if people click and don't book, the money is gone and everything is lost. This is unfortunately the risk you take. But I can always tell you, we have around 1,700 hotels on meta searches. On average, the return of investment is 20% cheaper than if you work with Booking or Expedia. And yes, there are always some hotels where it doesn't work, but there are also many, many, many hotels where it works. So that much in advance. Another thing is, Booking.com also has to pay for the click on TripAdvisor. So if Booking.com is clicked here on TripAdvisor, and then the click is forwarded to Booking.com, obviously Booking.com pays per click to TripAdvisor as well, and they pay for that click out of the commission you pay them. So if the commission you pay to Booking is enough to pay for the click on TripAdvisor, why shouldn't it be efficient for you as a hotel to book the click directly? And potentially the client you get is booking through your website, and maybe efficiently below bottom line, the costs are even much cheaper than what you pay in terms of commissions to Booking.com. And this is what I mean. On average, we can actually see that the costs of TripAdvisor and Trivago are around 20% below the average cost of commissions that you pay to Booking.com and Expedia. And that means profit. This means extra revenue for you, and this means savings for you and your hotel. So let's say you go live there. Now you have the connectivity, you uploaded your budget, and now you need to find out if it works or not. Now comes the black magic again. We need to obviously make sure that your results are as good as possible. Now it becomes complex because TripAdvisor is having a bidding model. TripAdvisor is having a model where you can change cost per click every day. And every day, everyone else who is doing that is also bidding on your hotel. So it's like a real-time auction. Prices go up and prices go down. And this is something you need to observe. Obviously, you don't want to go into fourth or fifth position. Maybe you want to be further up. And obviously, you always need to look at your results to see if you potentially can get more clicks or maybe should buy less clicks. And this is something that can be causing a lot of work on your side. And many, many hotels obviously don't have the resources, don't have the time, and also don't have the know-how. So this is, again, where people like myhotelshop come into the game because we basically do this for you. So we basically optimize the campaign for you. And now the good news is, except for the first €1,000, and if these first €1,000 are empty, you can always stop. So there's no obligation for you to keep on going and to stay live. So you can always basically say, no, I don't want that. But on the other side, maybe your results are great. So, and there comes the tracking again, because we track in real time on how many people click, on how many costs you had through those clicks, and then we can see on how much revenue it generates through your booking engine. And then you can tell us, look, I'm willing to pay 20% efficiently for every click on TripAdvisor for the revenue I make. Because you might say, hey, if I do this, and or let's say if I don't do it and people book through Expedia, I might end up paying 23 or 25% commission. So if I get the click through TripAdvisor for 20%, then I'm still saving 5%. So now the point is, you can tell us, or you can tell our software, hey, I don't want to have more than 20% costs. if the results are worse than 20% and my 1,000 euros are empty, stop. Don't go on. Stop immediately. In that case, the maximum risk you have is your first payment. And then afterwards, you can always stop and see why the results were bad, potentially make improvements, and then go live again. If the costs are below 20% and the 1,000 euros are empty, the system automatically charges you another 1,000 euro, and then you stay live and you keep on going. And then again, if the next 1,000 euros are empty, then the system is again looking at the results, and so on and so on and so on. So effectively, even though you pay for the click, you actually run on a commission model. But the good thing is the commission of 20% is not something you really pay. You might end up having a much better result. You might end up having a result of 10%. Maybe we have hotels that have 5%, 6% costs. So the 20% is really just the absolute maximum cost that you're willing to accept. And on average, usually costs are much, much further below. So you basically have the benefit of the cost per click model. So if it's cheaper, you also pay less. And you can actually manage it like a commission model because our system allows it that you actually define a maximum commission that helps you to stay within your ballpark. So that actually takes all the risk away. Only for the first money you upload is obviously we cannot guarantee, but afterwards the thing only keeps on going if you really have proper results. And the maximum commission you can actually always change, and you can higher, you can increase it, you can lower it, and so on. So that is quite a complicated business. And as I said, the auction model and the CPC model here is hidden behind a lot of algorithms. One very important thing I also wanted to mention is rate parity. If you have rate parity, so if every channel has the same price, it's always the one that pays the highest cost per click that is on position number one. Is that smart? Not necessarily. Because what we know with many hotels is, if you have a lower price on your website, platforms like Trivago and TripAdvisor give you a benefit because they tell you, look, if you are 5% cheaper on your website, the cost per click you have to pay might be much, much cheaper. They're not precise numbers again, but I would say it's easy. You can easily save up to 20% marketing costs if your website prices are 5% lower. And rate parity is nothing you have to do. It's nothing that is legally binding anymore. So you just can go ahead and put a lower price on your website, which is something you should do anyway. And it will directly benefit your campaigns on TripAdvisor and Trivago. Another very important point, you not only save up to 20% on your costs, we also know from our own statistics that a lot of hotels have up to 50% higher conversion rates. So everyone that clicks comes on your website and your conversion rate is 50% higher. So let's say you are spending 100 euro on TripAdvisor cost per click. And from these 100 euro, you get 100 clicks. Let's say you have a conversion rate of 2%. That means, or 3%. So let's say 3%, you make 3 bookings. So if your conversion rate is 50% higher, you make 4.5 or 5 bookings out of the same traffic. So 3 bookings might end up in 600 euro revenue, which means a return of investment of let's say roughly 15% or something. But if you actually get maybe 1,000 euro out of it or 800 euro out of it, your effective costs are much lower. So conversion rate is obviously very important, and disparity actually improves your conversion rate on meta search campaigns. So again, if you have more questions around that, contact us after, but we really highly recommend to you to actually push your website with a better price and increase its prices on OTAs. So if you understood that, you basically understood CPC on TripAdvisor. So you have this placement, yeah, and cost per click. There's an auction model to appear above each other. It's daily managed. It's complicated algorithms. This is where technology comes in handy. So this is the reason why myhotelshop exists, because we provide that bidding technology to help you optimizing your campaigns on these platforms, and we do this based on your performance. So basically, put in your commission, say how much you want to pay, and then the rest is managed by our software and by our people. So that's so much about TripAdvisor CPC. In case you're already confused, it's going to get worse, right? Because TripAdvisor has even more to offer. A lot of people of you might have seen that in the price comparison here, you see a little button TripAdvisor. So you can actually book a room on TripAdvisor. That means if you click here, you actually get forwarded to a place where you then end up in a booking engine of TripAdvisor. So today, people can actually book a room on TripAdvisor. So it's not like in the past where TripAdvisor sent every traffic away. So people are actually now able to book on TripAdvisor itself. There are several reasons why TripAdvisor is doing that, mainly also because a lot of people come in through mobile. And through mobile, people don't really like to be clicking somewhere and sent into a new browser window. In that case, they stay on TripAdvisor and they can book the room mobile, and it's very mobile friendly and very conversion friendly. So TripAdvisor decided to offer it to hotels to book straight with TripAdvisor. Now, the interesting thing is that you don't give inventory to TripAdvisor, right? You don't work with TripAdvisor. So how is TripAdvisor actually able to book rooms in your hotels if they don't have a contract with you? Quite easy. You can see it up here on the left side. There's a partnership with Booking.com. So Booking.com gives inventory to TripAdvisor. Booking.com gives parts of their commission that you pay to them, to TripAdvisor, to pay for that kind of person. So again, you don't see these bookings as TripAdvisor bookings in your hotel. You only see that as a Booking.com booking, and you don't know if that booking actually came from TripAdvisor or not. So that's the one thing, and Booking.com is obviously one of the biggest partners on instant booking for TripAdvisor. On the other side, it's not only TripAdvisor. There are also others. So here, for example, when you click through that hotel, there's no Booking.com. You don't see the Booking.com logo. Now, if you click a little bit further and you go into the next step, okay, and this one is sold out. Let's take this one, I think. Oh. Let's click here. Oh. Let's click this one. If you're more successful, exactly. So on the next page, you can see how you book the room. And if you scroll a little bit down, usually also down here, you can see the partner. And in that case, the inventory doesn't come from Booking, but it comes from Tingo. And Tingo Travel, again, is a daughter company or a subsidiary of TripAdvisor. And they pull inventory, again, from other third parties. I don't know 100%, but they might pull it from Expedia or Booking. And also in America by now, also Expedia is connected to instant booking. So it's also possible that you get the booking through Expedia. So now the question is, can I connect to TripAdvisor directly or not? Again, if you want to find out about this, you would need to go into the TripAdvisor login and then to go under products and go under instant booking. And if you click here on instant booking, there's a little button, check eligibility. And you can click here and you can see if your booking engine that your hotel uses is actually connected to TripAdvisor to make a setup possible with TripAdvisor. If you're connected with myhotelshop, you can actually get connectivity through myhotelshop as well. And then basically all the prices and all the inventories are sent to TripAdvisor. And if somebody books, the booking comes back through the interface on instant booking. But how does the model work? It's a commission model. So basically, you pay a commission, and I'm not sure, down here it is. You basically get a commission between 12 and 15%. So, but what is the difference now? And now it becomes really complicated, so you should stay tuned. You see here on TripAdvisor that obviously TripAdvisor sends people into the booking process. And if you pay 12% commission, in the end of the day, out of 4 searches, you get 1. Yeah. So if 4 people go through instant booking, 1 out of those 4 will go through your inventory, and the other 3 might still go through Booking.com or Tingo. Yeah. If you pay 15%, then you might end up, well, where was it? Here was it. You get 50% of all the searches. Yeah. So again, out of 50%, out of 100%, 2 go to you and 2 go to an OTA. So now the big question is, why should I do instant booking? And I think here we can keep it quite simple. If you are working with Booking.com and Booking.com is connected through instant booking through TripAdvisor, you are connected to instant booking, right? But if you pay 20% commission to Booking.com, I mean, it would obviously make sense to go in there and pay 15% because then maybe 2 out of 4 bookings end up in your own system for 5% less commission. And if you make 50,000 euro a year with instant booking, you're going to save 5% on that. That's 2,500 euros savings and profit a year. But we also have a lot of hotels in Switzerland or in the countrysides in Poland, and they only pay 12% to Booking.com. So in that case, if you only pay 12% to Booking.com, then you go live on TripAdvisor, you also pay 12%. This is potentially not really giving you the advantage that you want. So in that case, you might say, hey, I save the work, I save the extra effort, and I just take those bookings through Booking.com. Makes sense, but never forget, there's also the point where you say, if the people book through instant booking rather than through Booking.com, you have a better connection with the client. Because on instant booking, you get consumer data, you get the email address, you get the telephone number of the client, which is something you don't get on Booking.com. And also forget, it's not only Booking.com that is on instant booking. There's also Expedia and other players, and they might be more expensive. So let's put it that way. It's usually at the beginning a very good extra feature to use instant booking as a hotel because it gives you access to clients and you potentially save some money and have a better, more direct connection. Nevertheless, still, instant booking is not direct business because it's like a booking engine. It's like an online portal. It's like an OTA. Yeah, you pay commission and the client comes through the interface of TripAdvisor. If you want to have direct business, we need to go back and say, hey, this is your official hotel website. Then people really click to your website. They click to your brand and purchase and transact on your brand. And then most of the time what we see, it's, as I said, it's a cost per click model, but the return of investment is really, really good, especially if you're a hotel with good reviews and a good location. So 3 products: Business Advantage, TripAdvisor CPC, and TripAdvisor Instant Booking. You can do all 3 of them at the same time. You can also just do one of them at the time. The key difference, Business Advantage is something where you pay a price for the whole year, right? So you have to take it for a whole year. With CPC and Instant Booking, you can activate and deactivate as you wish. So with CPC, obviously, as I said, you need to start with 500 euro, give it a try and see how it works. And Instant Booking, you can also activate, and if you don't want to do it anymore, you can deactivate it. You can also change commissions all the time. But the question is, do you want to do this? And that's, again, the point where we come in. This is something, obviously, in case you wonder how we work and how we earn money. This is something we do for our hotels. We basically manage the CPCs for them. We manage the Instant Booking, the commission level for them. We manage your visibility. So, and it might be that all 3 placements make sense, but it also could be that not every placement makes sense and only 1 out of 3 makes sense. But you need to measure. And that's something we do. We measure it for you, and depending on the results, we keep you live where it makes sense, and we take you offline where it doesn't make sense. Nevertheless, TripAdvisor is one of the biggest platforms in the world. So in case you're looking for visibility, this is the place to be. In the end, there are only 3 platforms that really make a difference for your hotel website, which is Google, TripAdvisor, and Trivago. So these 3 things obviously is something you should observe. This is the, I'm always saying fish where the fish are, and these 3 platforms have a lot of fish for you. And as I always say, Booking.com and Expedia are fishing exactly on the same spot because they try to get the clients from TripAdvisor to them. And we actually also measured with some hotels. It's different in every hotel, by the way. I mean, it's really not something that you can take from one hotel to the other. But we have hotels where we know that 50% of the revenue through Booking.com is actually coming from TripAdvisor. So connecting our own website to TripAdvisor gives us the opportunity to get a large quantity of these clients directly. And if it's coming cheaper or for the same price than through Booking.com, then we are already very, very happy because it saves us a lot of money and it improves our business mix. We get more bookings through our own website, which makes us less depending on Booking.com. So all these things are obviously helping a lot for our own businesses. And a lot of hotels are very happy in doing that. So 40 minutes, as promised. These are the 3 products. If you have any questions, you're obviously more than welcome to raise them now, and please use the chat for that and just type in your questions. Or if you have any questions afterwards, I'm going to write you my email address in here so you can write me or my team an email or call us so we can answer more questions, or write us to campaign@myhotelshop.com. myhotelshop.de. And we're happy to answer your questions. If there are no more questions for you in the chat, I'll give you another few seconds to type. If not, we're going to end the conference and the webinar. And obviously, I'm very happy to stay in touch with you afterwards. I know it's Friday afternoon, so I hope you're going to have a lovely weekend and a lot of sunshine like we have over here. And we stay in touch and speak to you soon. Okay, no more questions. In that case, I'm going to end the recording. I wish you a nice weekend. Bye-bye.